Hey YouTube, Alicia here. I'm back with another review of The Real Housewives of New York City, Season 9, Episode 3. Let's get started. So this week we're getting ready to head to the Hamptons. There's a lot of preparation going. We see the ladies packing, getting ready to go. They're also setting up the alliances and the Great Divide for the season. We see Sonia calling Bethenny to trash talk Luann and Dorinda, and we see Luann and Dorinda trash talking Sonia. Luann and Dorinda are discussing Sonia's new house guest, Tinsley, and Luann asks if she's paying rent, and Dorinda wonders if she's an intern. These ladies are shady. Basically, Dorinda's tearing Sonia down, and their friendship looks like it's on the ropes or over. So Dorinda shows Luann a picture of Sonia at Luann's bridal shower with this stripper. And she's making comments about if she's sober, I'd hate to see her when she's drunk. And I was thinking, okay, this is totally Sonia's shtick. Like, she's all about the sex and just doing too much or whatever. This is Sonia having fun. Like, who cares? Now, Dorinda says she thinks that Sonia is jealous of her. I hate when people assume that people are jealous when people don't like them. Maybe I just don't like you. Maybe we just don't get along. And maybe it has nothing to do with jealousy. Maybe you're just a jerk. Who knows? People don't always get along with everybody. But it seems like these housewives always want to run to the jealousy card. Sonia's probably not jealous of Dorinda. We move over to Bethenny and Carol is feeling a lot of election stress. Like, she's totally on edge about it. And she's making comments about how Ramona's an uninformed voter, how she knows more about it than Ramona. And that is really annoying to me. Like, some people really do too much when it comes to anything. And it annoys me that Carol especially is convinced she knows more than Ramona. Maybe she does. But how does she know that? Based on what? I don't know Ramona personally, but from what I've seen over the seasons, she seems to do her homework fairly decently. So I don't know. So Luann and Dorinda are in the Hamptons, and they get on a boat just to hang out a little bit before the dinner that night. And Dorinda starts to say how she's a little nervous about seeing Sonia. There's all this stuff going on, and she hasn't seen her in a while since, I guess, the last blow up. So she's a little apprehensive. And she asks Luann to stand by her, kind of be her little ally. And so Luann says, of course, you're staying with me. I always stand by my house guests. And I thought, what an interesting phrase to use, because aren't y'all friends? Like, if y'all are friends, wouldn't you stand by her as a friend, whether or not she's staying at your house? So we have the first dinner of the Hampton outing, and it's Bethenny and Carol and Luann and Ramona. And everything's just idle chit-chat, really surfacey. And then out of the blue, Ramona brings up to Bethenny that she's in the press. But she kind of does it in like a roundabout way. Starts telling some story about how her daughter was in school, and somebody came to her daughter and showed her something about Ramona's friend. Not Ramona, Ramona's friend. So she asked Bethenny, hey, so you're in the press these days by your naked photos and soft porn, and has anybody gone up to Bryn and mentioned it to her? And so Bethenny is just like completely shocked, like, what? She goes, yeah, she's 6. Everyone's talked to her. Diane Sawyer came to her school. And Ramona is just, I guess she was so convinced this was going to go a different way that she didn't, for some reason, expect Bethenny to come back at her and turn it around on her. So Bethenny's deflecting Ramona's line of questioning, and Ramona's feeling foolish, and she's starting to get angry because she's the one that's embarrassed when she intended to make Bethenny feel embarrassed. And it just devolves. It becomes this huge argument where Ramona's playing the victim. She tries to turn around on Bethenny, starts calling her names. Luann jumps in. They start talking about the issue. Carol tries to defend. So then Ramona attacks Carol too, saying she doesn't understand what's going on because she doesn't have children. What does that have to do with anything? You don't have to have children to understand when you are attacking someone else or trying to humiliate someone else, and then they're feeling rightfully defensive about it. So it just did not go anywhere. Finally, Luann and Ramona end up insulting Bethenny, saying that she's wicked and she's a witch. And Bethenny says, I'm not going to take this. And so she leaves. And since Carol is staying with Bethenny, she leaves as well. During the kerfuffle, Ramona turns to Luann and starts talking about Bethenny, saying, I think she's mad at me. I think she's upset that I brought it up. And then Luann says, I think she's just embarrassed. Like, this whole full-on conversation across the table from Bethenny. So Bethenny says, I can hear you. I'm sitting right here. So, like I said, it didn't go anywhere. They start arguing. Luann is convinced that Bethenny can dish it but can't take it, which is true. But Luann says, you know what, when we were in the Hamptons last year, or the Berkshires last year, you said all kinds of things to me. And they showed a flashback, and it was ugly. And Luann says, I stayed, I didn't leave, so she's mocking Bethenny because Bethenny's leaving. But if you remember, throughout all that brouhaha in the Berkshires, Luann was very upset. And she kept saying she was leaving, and she was looking for Dorinda to defend her, and Dorinda's like, I'm not getting involved. Dorinda was super pissed that they had ruined her whole little nice Christmas thing that she made nice, and it was nasty. And so Luann threatened to leave a lot, but we all know Luann had no intention of leaving. She was looking for attention. She wanted Bethenny to stop. So those were idle threats. So she was never going to leave and lose airtime. So it's not exactly the same thing for Luann to come down on Bethenny and say, I stayed. She should have stayed and took it. So anyway, we get a quick little scene of Dorinda and Tinsley showing up at the Hamptons. Nothing seen. Then we move back over to Dorinda and Ramona and Luann sitting down for lunch the next day to discuss the dinner from the night before. So it's a rehash session. So Ramona starts the conversation by saying that she was confused about what happened last night. That she didn't actually bring up the topic. She just kind of discreetly asked if anybody could talk to Bran about anything. And I'm thinking, you have amnesia from just the night before. You specifically said that Bethenny was in the press for her naked pictures and soft porn. So, you know, that's actually bringing up the subject. And you brought her daughter into it. So Ramona has convenient amnesia, and it annoyed me that Luann and Dorinda kind of co-signed on that and didn't check Ramona and let her know, actually, you started that thing. But I guess that's producer, motivated, because you got to have the little teams going on. Meanwhile, you have Carol and Bethenny talking about it over at Bethenny's house. And Bethenny's disgusted that Ramona stooped so low to bring up that topic alongside with her daughter to try to shame her through her daughter. So the teams have been firmly created. Back at the lunch with Dorinda and Ramona and Luann, Dorinda starts saying that someone, producer, has brought something to her, and she shows them her phone, and supposedly it's some Facebook posts that Sonia has written where she's slandering John and she's slandering John, and she's talking about Luann, how she'll be caught dead at her wedding. She's a whole bunch of nastiness that supposedly Sonia posted. So because of these posts, now Dorinda's getting a little fired up and a little bit angry towards Sonia. She was trashing her at the beginning of the show, but now she's mad. Now she's kind of like, I have it in for Sonia. So, of course, that is crossed with Tinsley and Sonia talking about the dinner that's going to be that night at Ramona's house. And Sonia suddenly miraculously gotten over whatever beef she had with Dorinda, and she's looking forward to meeting her. Tinsley's a little nervous about meeting Dorinda because she hasn't met her before, and she wants to get to know her, and she wants to be liked. Like, we know Tinsley's trying to rebuild her character, get back in the social circles, so she's really just trying to schmooze everyone. Because she even tells Sonia, hey, so what happens if I like Dorinda? Like, how are you guys? Because she wants to know. Like, this is high school. If I'm friends with her, are we not friends anymore? Because I really need to be on everybody's team. And so, of course, Sonia's like, no, Dorinda's great and everything. I love Dorinda. It's fine. She's great. Whatever. So Sonia has moved on miraculously past whatever tiff they had. So they're setting it up. Sonia's obliviously happy now. Now Dorinda's on one. So we get to Ramona's house, and it's time for the dinner. And Dorinda is still getting more information from someone, and she's showing it to Sonia, and she's showing it to different people, and she's getting more and more upset. Now, she seems just sauced. Like, she already seems drunk. She's slurring her words, and I'm just like, oh, here we go. So Carol shows up, and so Dorinda's sharing all this information with Carol, and so she tells Carol that supposedly there's some ex-friend of Richard's who's not a private eye exactly, but is a mole and is able to get all kinds of information like he used to get for Richard. He just calls her out of the blue and says, hey, I used to get this information for Richard. Why don't I help you? So now she has a file this thick on Sonia. A, why would this person call you out of the blue after 5 years of Richard being gone and just offer services unsolicited on somebody in your circle? One person in your circle? Come on now. Are we supposed to believe this? So anyway, supposedly that's what's going on. And she's got all this information on Sonia, everything she's ever done. Who cares? Like, Sonia has embarrassed herself enough on this show in the last 6 years, because I think she started season 3. I don't even care what she's done in the past. Like, we already know Sonia is a mess, and we don't care. So I'm interested to see where they're going to take this, how far they're going to take this. It reminds me of Married to Medicine when Quad got that file on Lisa. Wasn't her name Lisa? I can't even remember now. But anyway, I bet you that little dossier is pretty juicy, actually. But I don't know if they'll share any of it. So Carol's impressed and a little scared. Like, wow, why do you have a file on Sonia? Like, what are you going to do with it? And she didn't really say what she was going to do with it, but she was bragging that she had it. Carol tells Dorinda, well, if you're about to confront Sonia, you better slow down on that drinking, because she's drinking this wine glass, and Dorinda says it's Coca-Cola. I was like, really? Are you sure, sis? Maybe that's a chaser, because I'm sure you've had more than Coca-Cola tonight. So the show ends with, it's a to be continued, and the show ends with Sonia and Tinsley walking up, completely oblivious to the fact they're walking into a lion's den, and we're going to have to wait for next week to see what happens next. So it looks like next week is the election party. Looks like Carol and Ramona get into it over Hillary, but who knows. And also it looks like Tinsley's already ditching Sonia, because she seems to be out to dinner with Luann, and Luann asks, where's Sonia? And she didn't tell her where she was going. So here we go. Like I said, Tinsley's a social climber, trying to get back into the good graces of society. So that's it, guys. That's my quick little review of episode 3. Let me know in the comments below if you watched and what did you think of it. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!